So the line's 1.5 just as it should be. So I'm going to turn the properties panel off to save a little room. Also, when we get to the end, I'll show you how to double check the. Well, I'll go ahead and show you. Just to double check, don't put these in your drawing, but if you want to check the measurements here, these are all linear dimensions, so you could type in DLI at the command line, followed by pressing enter. That's dim linear. So let's just check that angle. So let's check the 2.75 dimension. So I'll click here and here. So that is 2.75. Okay, that's good. Let me just click on it and erase it. And I could also DLI again, enter, and then click here and then here and make sure that is 1. So click on that and erase it. Okay, again, I don't want those in the drawing for this particular exercise. So I want to go back to the endpoint here. I'm going to re-enter the line command. Okay, so let's start off here at the bottom since we're given that dimension there. So let's go straight up by 0.5, and then we'll go directly to the right by 1, and then up by 1. I'm just following the dimensions given here. Now this dimension is also 1, so we'll go to the left 1, and then back to the end of the angled line. Okay, so that's how we draw the outside of the object. And now let's add the circle. Now circles, you need to always think 3 dimensions. It takes 3 dimensions to accurately create a circle. Okay, well, when you're dealing with linear dimensions in a situation like this, if you're dealing in polar, that we'll discuss later, then you can get away with 2. But in this case, you need 3 dimensions, as you can see here: the 1.5 linear dimension, the 1 linear dimension, and the diameter of the circle itself dimension. Okay, so these two place the circle, and this actually defines the circle size. Okay, so one way to do that is to use the line command. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to start at the endpoint here. Make sure your endpoint snap is turned on, and then left click. Alright, now I'm going to pull my crosshair way to the left. I just want to make sure I don't accidentally snap on something that I shouldn't, like for example that endpoint. Okay, now actually ortho is not going to permit me to do that, but just as a good habit, pull your crosshair straight out to the left and make sure you get a good horizontal line. And basically I want to draw a line that is 1.5 units long, and I want it to lie directly on top of the line that's already there. Okay, so I'll just type in 1.5. Okay, now you can't actually see that line, okay, but it's there. That's the line we just drew. That's the line we drew previously. Okay, so from the endpoint of this line we just drew, I want to draw a line straight up by a distance of 1. Okay, so so now we're ready to place our circle. What we have done is we have gone left 1.5 and up 1 to find the center point of our circle, so we can enter the circle command. So I'll press circle, or you can choose a drop down. By default, you get the circle radius, circle with a radius option. Or if you use the drop down, since we're given a diameter dimension, we can choose to draw a circle with a center diameter option. Okay, so let me expand that. My menu's not working quite right. So so it's the second option on the list, center diameter. Okay, and let me bring that back the way it was. Sometimes when I'm filming these videos, my AutoCAD acts up because it takes up so many resources. So I'm in the circle with the diameter option command. Okay, so I just want to click on the end point of this line, and I can pull out my circle. Okay, and now if I look in the command line, AutoCAD asks me to specify the diameter of the circle, and I will just press 1. Okay, now just to let you know, you would probably know to erase this line, okay, and get it out of the drawing because it's not actually part of the object. It was just used to locate the circle. But you may not know that you need to erase this line, okay, and the reason why is just bad practice to overlay. In other words, this looks like one line, so it should be one line. So let me just single click on that and press erase. By the way, if you were to Windows select this, it would select this line and this line at the same time. So if I were to click erase, it would erase both. Okay. So let me undo. So if you just want to select one, make sure you just single click on the line and then click erase. Okay, and that is how you draw that object using direct distance. Okay, so if you wanted to use snap in grid, you could. As I mentioned, I'll show you how to do that. So let me just erase. I'm going to turn on my grid. All right, and I'm going to turn on snap. Now I need to go into my settings, and I'm going to change. I right-clicked on the grid button. I'm going to change my snap spacing and my grid spacing to something that works for this drawing. Okay, so a number that divides into all these linear dimensions evenly is 0.25. Okay, what really messes us up here, I could use 0.5 if it weren't for this 2.75 dimension. Okay, so let's just see how that works. 0.25, 0.25, and then OK. And let me just show you how this works. So again, I want to enter the line command, and you could just kind of watch this, your crosshairs bump along. Every time, since we made our spacing 0.25, every time it jumps is 0.25. So 4 times, that's 1. If you know, as you can see in the grid here, there's a 5 by 5 grid. So 10 of these should be 2.5. And this should be 3.75, so that should be 4.25. Okay, so as you can see, you can do this in with grid and snap, no problem. You would do the angles the same way. You go to the left 1, and this is one advantage of it. I'm not actually having to draw another line to locate my angle. I can just let my crosshairs go to the left by one unit, which is 4 bumps basically, and then go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then left click, and it oops, I have ortho turned on. Let me erase that and turn ortho off. I don't need it right now. And so to the left 4, up 3, and then it creates that line for me. Okay, and you can just continue on in this fashion until you complete the drawing. And I think I've shown you everything I need to show you for the video. I guess locating the circle would also be a little bit easier in orthos, because what you can do is you can just kind of click the watch your grid, and then you could accurately locate the circle. Again, I don't really use grid and snap very much, but if that's something that you want to utilize, it is there for your use. And that concludes this video.